it to our communication officer. She will do it.
We're good to go.
Okay. Oh, hello, Tom.
Hello.
I'm Māra Pāvula from Rīgas Circus, and today we have Tomu Monktonu from Color Collective, who has came to Rīgā with the performances, and now we are in space of Latvian Academy of Culture because Tom has been giving physical theatre workshops for the students of Academy of Culture and some other artists. Thank you for coming. And in Latvia, we have this kind of habit to go to circus for festivities, Christmas, New Year. Do you think there is some direct link between festivities and circus?
I think traditionally speaking, because circuses were in this tent and it was this big event that would kind of come into town on these massive trains, and it was just like an amazing thing that would descend upon you. It was a festival that came to your doorstep. You didn't have to go anywhere. So it's definitely, I think, from a traditional perspective, intrinsically linked to festivities, just traditionally speaking. But I guess in the contemporary aspect, it has deviated more towards theatre. So I think it's branched off somewhat.
We still have loads of theatre performances at Christmas as well.
Yeah.
I guess it's because we have some holiday time and people just have time to go to see performances as well. But what about circus? Why would you invite people to come to circus? What is the thing that, for example, Only Bones can bring to the spectators?
Well, I guess with Only Bones, it kind of connected me with how I kind of initially felt when I discovered circus, because it felt circus is so amazing for me to watch when I first discovered it, because it was people using these human bodies to do impossible things. And I think there's an immediate connection we have because we see these human bodies and we have a human body, but they're doing things that are just completely you can't even imagine your body doing. So there's something very fascinating about that because you're so connected with it. And so that's kind of what I try to do with Only Bones in a very minimalist, pared down way. It's just using my body to use it in a different way to hopefully inspire some surprise or amazement is quite a strong word, but some surprise in the audience. Yeah.
Amazement. I would say amazement as well. But the thing that I find really interesting is that during your show, you hear laughing both kids and parents, and the parents are very different age. I had my parents laughing very loud. So, what's your idea? Why do you think it works with different ages?
I think it's kind of a similar thing. Audiences, adults and children can identify with the body. So it's that same thing. There's an immediate connection to it. Also, it's very physical, and I think that we kind of just find the same thing funny as we did as kids. It's just that because as we get older, we experience it more and more, so we get desensitized to it. But my theory is that we still laugh at peekaboo, but it just has to be reinvented in a way that is presented in a unique way for adults to be able to laugh at peekaboo. It just has to be reinvented. But we still laugh at peekaboo, of somebody appearing and disappearing.
You have chosen quite a rare profession, I would say, being a clown as a profession. And so can you tell me a little bit about your way on becoming a clown? How did you came up with the idea, and what do someone does when he wants to become a clown?
Yeah, I guess I grew up in a very small town of about 1,200 people, and I liked being physical, but the only outlet for that was kind of to play rugby. That's what you do in New Zealand if you want to be physical. And we took a trip overseas once, and somebody taught me how to juggle then. And then through juggling, I was like, oh, this is fun and physical, and I don't need to play sport to do it. And through juggling, I kind of got introduced to circus, and I just really fell in love with training technical skills. But on the comedy side, I specifically wanted to be a clown. I had 4 older brothers, and they were constantly making me laugh, and in quite silly ways. There was lots of slapstick or stories, and it all kind of revolved around misadventure. It was all about their mistakes and accidents that I found the most entertaining. So I guess that kind of naturally pushed me into this area of clowning, of physical comedy. And I saw a few shows as well as a kid. I think I saw Marcel Marceau, and he came to New Zealand. And I'm definitely not a traditional clown or mime or anything. But when I saw him alone on stage, I remember I was quite young. I remember watching him, and I want to do that. I want to be alone on stage and do something like that. Yeah.
But now you are not always alone on the stage. You work as well in a collective of clowns.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I like balancing the two. It's nice working alone or in a small group, but it's a lot of fun to work in a large group, and it's a lot more fun touring when you're a large group.
So, but more about this, how this passion for being a clown was born in you. But then later, how did you actually manage it? When you want to be an accountant, you go to accounting school.
Yeah.
What do you do when you want to be a clown?
Well, I discovered that there was this circus school when I was very young, when I was about 13. And so as soon as I was old enough to leave school, I ran away to the circus school, and then I trained there. And I tried to be a circus artist in New Zealand for a while, but there wasn't so much work. So I thought I need to expand my training. So that's when I discovered the School of Jacques Lecoq in Paris, and so I went over there to start my studies.
And how was your experience in Paris?
It was adventurous. It was I was very naive when I went there, because in New Zealand, you kind of rock up to the city and you take a look at the classifieds and you make a phone call and you have a place to live. It's really straightforward. And I kind of assumed that Paris would be similar. So I arrived and I didn't really have anything sorted out, so I ended up... the first night I slept up a tree.
Up a tree?
Yeah. I can't remember why I ended up making that decision, but I remember thinking, oh, that's a really comfortable looking tree. I'm going to sleep there. And then I moved from a tree to a hedge, a small tree.
A small tree.
Yeah, about that big. But one with class, because it was on the Jaunzēlande. And so I had my sleeping bag and I would just go there. And then I bumped up my accommodation and I moved into a tent.
A tent?
Yes, a tent, thanks. In the Bois de Vincennes, which is the big woods on the outskirts of Paris. And then the next level was in an abandoned hotel. I got in from the roof into the window, and then I got into a normal apartment, and it was all smooth sailing from there.
So you went to one of the world's most famous school to study, and you were living in the street during that time.
Yeah, there was quite a sharp contrast. I remember one night that my friend was visiting me in the tent, and we had some drinks, and they decided that they wanted to take a taxi. So we took a taxi back to my tent in the woods.
Yeah, it seems like you really wanted to become a clown.
Yeah, I was dedicated. That was my path. Yeah.
And how did you decide to go to Finland? Because that's another unusual place to go to live when you come from New Zealand.
Yeah, I guess it was just like, what is the most unusual thing I can do next? And then that was it. No, I actually met a couple of Finnish people at school, and we ended up living together, sharing an apartment. Me, two Finns, a guy from Portugal. And then after Jacques Lecoq, we had a contract in Helsinki, and we worked there, and then we established our own company, Kaula Collective, which we still run now. Yeah.
And so you were playing 2 other shows here in Riga. Can you tell a bit about your future plans?
Right, yes. So after these shows, I'm going to New Zealand to start working on another show with the same person that I made Only Bones with, Gemma Tweedy. We're collaborating on another show, maybe a solo, we're not sure yet, but it's about a lost astronaut. And so we're developing that in a residence in New Zealand. And then later on, I'm also touring another solo show called The Artist, and I have a couple of other shows that I've directed that are also touring. I think that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting a show, but I think that's it.
So you're a clown.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that you can be as well a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You're directing.
Mm-hmm.
Do there some other profession that we don't know yet about you?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I went through a brief period of time when I was about 13 that I wanted to become a zoologist. Yeah. But then I realised that I don't know what a zoologist is, so that kind of cut that dream short.
Okay, and we have talked about this before, but you tour quite a lot. How many days per month are you home?
Well, I think on average, maybe a week per month, but it would sometimes be a lot less. Yeah. Not very often. I like being at home and doing nothing when I am there.
So I'm very thankful you came here during this time, and instead of staying home and doing nothing. I know you don't have enough time for that. And I think it's time we go back on learning, teaching new skills to students, but maybe just to say goodbye to the Latvian audience who's watching us, you could show the most happy face that you would wish the people watching you would have that.
Yes. Maybe not that intense, because that would freak me out.
Thank you very much, Tom, for this.
Thanks.